Millions walking towards the same destination, footstep after footstep. The pilgrims travel for hundreds of miles on a path to reach their beloved Hussein in the fated land of Karbala. They have left behind their families, their homes and their businesses, focusing all their energy on one goal, reaching their Imam on the day of Arbaeen.
They walk from different cities towards the city of Hussein ibn Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, who is the grandson of the Holy Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and his holy progeny.
Those who are not aware of Arbaeen may believe that conducting and hosting such a pilgrimage in Iraq would be a near impossibility. The country simply doesn't have the infrastructure of the First World. However, the contributions that are made by fellow lovers of Imam Hussein and the Holy Household will ease this trip for all of those who embark on it. It is ordinary Iraqis who selflessly provide the myriad of services required by pilgrims along the way, including food, drinks, lodging and medication, known as the mawakib. These mostly poor individuals save up their money and resources in order to be able to serve, free of charge, the pilgrims who brave the long journey. They do so with a warmth and enthusiasm born out of a shared love of their slain Imam.
اللي ما عندني مثل جاي أول سنة نوديه وين؟ نوديه للبيوت. بالشادر ما يبقى، بالموكب ما يبقى، فنوديه نقله إلى دورنا بيوتنا، نقدم الخدمة، العشاء، شو تعبيراتنا، شو اللي موجود، ملابس، يريد أنه مثلا يسبح، يريد أنه أي شيء اللي يريده إحنا بالنسبة بخدمته.
The people of Iraq are generous by nature, and they are willing to give everything for Imam Hussein, for the sake of Imam Hussein. So this is an expression of pure love. When you love a cause, you are willing to give everything for the sake of that cause, to support that cause. And this is expressed in the generosity of the people of Iraq towards the visitors and those who come to pay tribute to Imam Hussein on the day of Arbaeen.
The Mawakib set up their stalls along the several routes that pilgrims can take to reach the shrine of Imam Hussein. These servants in the Mawakib travel from all over Iraq to set up their booths along the main routes to the shrines. Some have traveled through dangerous areas to set up these stalls. During the height of ISIS's power in the country, many Shia Mawakib traveled to Karbala from the northern areas, risking their lives along the way. They did not care for the threats they may have faced. Over the years, several Mawakib were ambushed and killed by ISIS militants, but this did not stop the Mawakib from continuing their journey of love and servitude. Many Mawakib prepare for this pilgrimage months ahead of time in order to provide the best service for the lovers of Hussein. These mawakib adopt several names so that they become known both to the pilgrims and the security forces who want to protect the pilgrims along the way. The names of these mawakib seek to reflect several things. Some of them may merely adopt their village, city, or country's name to show the pilgrims of Imam Hussein that they have come from all over the world to serve them. Others are named after famous figures in the tragedy of Karbala or the Ahlul Bayt, each seeking to represent the figures that they are named after. Some mawakib are composed of only children who find inspiration in Qasim ibn al-Hasan and the infant Abdullah. Others seek inspiration from Imam Hassan himself and seek to represent the generosity that the Imam was known for. While some provide sweet or savory food, others provide areas for the pilgrims to rest and sleep. Some mawakib recently have been set up to remind the pilgrims of those who have been martyred during these years to facilitate the ziyarah. From security forces who gave their lives to protect the pilgrims from attacks, individuals who served in the mawakib and were killed by terrorists. Furthermore, given that some of those who partake of the pilgrimage are old and may have medical conditions, health centers are set up along the walk, where doctors and nurses attend to those in need and provide them with the medication they need to continue their journey.
During this wonderful act of dedication and love and loyalty, that is the Arbaeen walk, you see these places known as mawkibs. A mawkib is a place in which somebody has set up and all they want to do is serve. And it's free. But it's not only one where people are served. It is where people are begged and requested to be served. People stand on the street and they ask you politely, please come in to our tent. Please come into our building. Let us massage your feet. Let us give you some water. Let us feed you. Let us be the place where you rest at night. There are some tremendous services out there. You can have places where they wash, for example, clothes. Places where you charge your phone. Places where there are medications, hospitals, and clinics, for example, on the way from different paths, going all towards Karbala. Places where you read books. Places where you just sit and relax and think. Places, of course, to worship and pray. But they're all free of charge. And the idea is to make the Za'ir of Hussein, the visitor of Hussein, happy. It's to make them comfortable. It's to make them go through this experience where they would want to serve as well.
With a multitude of mawakib set up along the path, the mawakib are all eager to serve and draw in as many pilgrims as possible. Each coming up with new ways and new techniques to have the honor of serving the pilgrims of Hussein, all competing for one thing: receiving the blessings of serving the Imam and his visitors. And the pilgrims themselves keep coming in their multitudes, old and young, some disabled and others infirm. Despite wars, despite ISIS, despite the poverty that has stricken the country, visitors flock to the city of Karbala in Iraq annually to participate in the Arbaeen pilgrimage. The numbers are staggering. 18 million pilgrims attended Arbaeen in 2019, of whom 5 million were non-Iraqi. So what is Arbaeen, and why does this walk inspire millions of passionate believers? Arbaeen is an annual day of commemoration for the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, who was mercilessly killed along with his family and companions on the day of Ashura, the 10th of Muharram in the year 61 after Hijrah, or 680 AD. Pilgrims visit the shrine of Hussein at Karbala, Iraq, which was the site of the battle. Arbaeen is the 40th day after Ashura, and represents the culmination of the annual mourning period. This pilgrimage is not new. Rather, it is a continuation of the pilgrimage that the captives of Hussein made back to Karbala following the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. There they saw the Prophet's companion, Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, who was one of the first companions to visit the grave of the Imam. Since that first pilgrimage, the believers have continued this tradition, which grew year after year.
Ziyaratul Arbaeen is the world's largest annual peaceful gathering, despite the fact that perhaps the international media has not shed light and covered this tremendously powerful demonstration of love and loyalty on an annual basis. It continues to go from strength to strength.
Hussein sacrificed himself at Karbala because he refused to give allegiance to the corrupt and wayward Umayyad Caliph Yazid, son of Muawiyah. Hussein's stand was therefore one of justice against tyranny, a fact which has not been lost on the many tyrants, dictators, and autocrats who have ruled over Iraq and the Arabian Peninsula since the Battle of Karbala took place. In the interests of self-preservation, such tyrants have tried to stifle the core message of Hussein by banning the pilgrimage and attacking those who attempt to make the journey. Amongst the first bans were those made by the Abbasid caliphs, who ruled soon after the Umayyad Empire fell. The most tyrannical of these caliphs was Al-Mutawakkil. According to historical accounts, he destroyed the shrine 4 times, only to find it being rebuilt just days later by the faithful despite the presence of troops who were ordered to surround the grave and close any leading pathways. The tyrant also ordered these troops to punish whoever attempted to visit the grave by killing them or cutting off their hands. This did not stop the faithful from visiting their beloved. The bans did not end after the fall of the Abbasid Empire. There was even an attempt to divert the river Euphrates to cover the graves of the martyrs and drown the remembrance of Hussein. But that attempt failed, and the pilgrimage continued to take place annually, both publicly and underground. In 1977, the Saddam regime in Iraq enforced a ban on the Ashura and Arbaeen pilgrimages to crack down against the Shia who continued to reject the oppressive Ba'athi ideology. This ban outraged the people. In an act of defiance, thousands marched from Najaf and other southern provinces towards Karbala. Like their predecessors, they did not care about the ban and the constant threats. Instead, they continued walking to Karbala, chanting anti-Ba'athist slogans.
Immediately after the death, the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, until recently, until maybe 2 decades ago, the ziyarah of Imam Hussein, not just the Arbaeen, but other ziyarah too, were banned, prohibited. During the time of the Umayyad, succeeded by the Abbasid, during the time of Harun, during the time of Mutawakkil, during the time of Mu'tasim, Abbasis, and also other governments who came, who ruled Iraq. The ziyarah was banned because ziyarah is a powerful political statement against corruption and tyranny. And therefore these governments feel insecure. And they fear the ziyarah because ziyarah is a power, has a power, generates power in the souls, in the minds, in the hearts of those people who perform it.
Despite the Ba'athist regime arresting and executing dozens of pilgrims in 1977, the Shia continued their pilgrimage to Imam Hussein via discrete routes over following years. In fact, all attempts at banning this pilgrimage have resulted only in a growth in the numbers of the mawakib, pilgrims, and servants of Hussein. Just as the slaughter of Hussein, his family and companions rejuvenated Islam and galvanized Muslims to overthrow Yazid, so attempts to stifle Hussein's remembrance have only increased the resolve and stubborn determination of those who commemorate his martyrdom. Even today, some 1,400 years later. Following the fall of the Ba'athist regime in 2003, the Arbaeen pilgrimage began to be carried out publicly, with millions walking to Karbala on an annual basis. Even during the bitterest of years in Iraq, and despite constant threats by terrorist groups, including ISIS, the lovers of Hussein walked for weeks to reach the Imam on the 40th day after each Ashura, to offer salutations to the martyrs of Karbala and condolences to the Ahlul Bayt, the household of the Prophet, including the awaited Saviour, Imam Mahdi.
People were threatened. You walk, you'll be captured, you'll be imprisoned, you'll be tortured, and you might be executed. But people walked. They would walk in secret, they would walk at night between farms. They would be captured, they would be killed, yet they walked.
Those who have participated the journey know that it is not merely a physical expedition. It is a journey of love, passion and servitude to Allah, His final messenger and His Ahlul Bayt. It is a journey of unity and peace. It represents a clarion call for the ongoing revolution of Imam Hussein against tyranny and injustice. Moreover, it is a journey of the heart, in which pilgrims reflect upon the outstanding qualities exemplified by the martyrs of Karbala: courage, selflessness, patience, and steadfast adherence to the path of God. In this pilgrimage, we see unity towards one common goal: Hussein.
Millions of people come from Iraq and many other countries to walk hundreds of miles just to pay tribute to Imam Hussein, to say that we are on your side. Not only to change others, but to change themselves too. So that ziyarah really changes people's mind, people's heart, people's allegiance, and changes their behavior too. Many people were guided during the trip of the ziyarah. They found the truth. It changed their life 180% because of the ziyarah of the Arbaeen of Imam Hussein.
Thus, during the Arbaeen pilgrimage, one sees a mosaic of pilgrims of all backgrounds, ethnicities, and colors. Those who are wealthy and those who are poor, the religious and the non-practicing, the healthy and the sick, all walking alongside each other, all displaying signs of sadness and mourning for Imam Hussein, and all seeking to serve the Prophet and his holy household, the Ahlul Bayt.
Here's an important point. Why do they walk? Why couldn't they, in their millions, just go to Karbala, recite the different recitations, pay their respects to Hussein ibn Ali's tomb, peace be upon him, and then get back? Why the walk? Why the struggle? Because in struggle and in dedication and devotion, there is upliftment, there is growth, there is sacrifice, there's willing to give, and hence you'll find people enjoying the experience, because it at least shows that they're willing to do something different. They're willing to go out of their comfort zones. It's an important lesson in life. In life we find many challenges, many obstacles. Arbaeen and the walk towards Hussein's shrine in Karbala teaches us that we will face struggles, that we will face obstacles in life, and we have to keep going. We have to have hope. We have to have lots of positivity in our minds, and we can get there. And people have time for reflection when they walk. We are told in Islamic narrations that if there is an option to do something, take the way in which it is more difficult. Why? Because A, you'll be more rewarded, and B, perhaps you will train yourself, your soul, your body in a better manner. Because we live in a world where people are lazy, people are not willing to push themselves to the limit sometimes. And this is what the Arbaeen walk actually does.
People of all nationalities, all races, all age groups, and even different faith groups walk on the same path. Some walk for days, weeks, and months, and others have come from thousands of miles, only to take these steps with their brothers and sisters. Walking alongside fellow believers, they feel an unmatched sense of comfort, safety, and serenity, undimmed by aching limbs or nascent security concerns. The multiplicity of languages, flags, and creeds only add color and depth to the singular, unifying lament. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
Some people spend 2 days, some people spend 3 days, more or less, on this highway between Najaf and Karbala. And for them it represents a journey of meditation and reflection on their life, on their past, on their present, on their future, where they stand, why they are walking here, what they want to do with their own life.
After days of walking and bonding with the servants and lovers of Hussein along the way, the journey of the pilgrims to their beloved reaches its pinnacle. As they enter the holy city of Karbala, they begin to see other groups and pilgrims who have already arrived from all parts of the country and the world. The streets and buildings are draped in black, a display of sadness and grief. The sounds of eulogies, lectures, and chants mixed with tears become louder. They continue walking towards two lights, glimmering above the horizon. They are the domes of the shrines of Imam Hussein and his loyal brother, Abbas ibn Ali.
The golden dome of Abu al-Fadl Abbas salamullahi alayhi, especially those who come from Najaf, that's the first thing they see. The altruistic, loyal, brave brother of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And if they haven't seen it, they really break down. Their hearts are thumping. They don't know how to express themselves. The tears are flowing. These are the great heroes who gave everything. What am I going to give for the sake of humanity, but above all, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
As they reach Bayn al-Haramain, the area between the shrines of Imam Hussein and Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, the pilgrims meld into a massive crowd, walking between the two shrines, carrying a sa'i, a walk, similar to that carried out between Safa and Marwa during the Hajj pilgrimage. Seen from above, it is clear that Karbala has transformed from a city to a beating heart, with millions of people entering and exiting at the same time. The streets resemble arteries and veins, pumping people in and pumping people out. The streets and walkways of Karbala are traversed by millions of pilgrims who carry with them their worries, concerns, and woes. The pilgrims will later leave the city feeling unburdened. It is as if the Imam has given them a new life. Thus, the beating heart of Karbala rejuvenates its visitors.
Among those who come to pay tribute are not only the Shias, but are Sunnis, Christians, non-Muslims, and others who believe in the concept of Imam Hussein, who believe in his message. So when you walk with those people, you consider yourself to be part of this universal family, universal community that is standing against oppression and against injustice today.
Every pilgrim's walk is an expression of loyalty, love, and passion for Hussein and his slain companions. All of those who reach Karbala are praying. They pray for the reappearance of the 12th Imam. They pray for Imam Hussein's intercession on the Day of Judgment. And they hope and believe that all of their prayers and needs will be fulfilled as they look up at the sacred domes with tears in their eyes. Soon after reaching the city of Karbala, there is a certain quickening, a sense of urgency in the air. Many pilgrims cannot wait to enter the shrine and finally see their beloved Hussein. They hurry to reach the inside of the mausoleum. They want to see the tomb enshrined within the beautiful architecture of the shrine. Despite the difficulty that they face trying to squeeze between the throngs trying to get to the tomb, they continue until they reach their destination. Finally encountering the tomb in all its greatness, pilgrims see a silver cage decorated by beautiful calligraphy that covers the grave of the Imam. In a feast for the senses, they smell beautiful aromas as they near the shrine, and they hear those inside chanting, "Labbayka ya Hussein." I am here, O Hussein. The pilgrims try to grasp the shrine like a baby grasping for its mother. They kiss the shrines with tears rolling down their face, all wishing they were there with Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura. They renew their allegiance to their martyred Imam and promise the Imam of their time, Imam Mahdi, that they will stand with him through thick and thin. Many of them also pray for their burdens to be lifted. Some pray for loved ones lost, others pray for their families. They do so with the knowledge of many traditions stating that all prayers under the dome of Hussein are answered by the Almighty.
Those who have been to Arbaeen must become ambassadors of Arbaeen. Encourage others to attend, take part, encourage others to experience it, even non-Muslim friends. Look after them, be able to really show them the true spirit of Islam, the true spirit of the Ahl al-Bayt, peace and blessings be upon them. This unbelievable story of love that is Arbaeen, for them to see it in their own eyes. The generosity is phenomenal. Something that perhaps the world has not seen. Maybe people, when they walk and they see so much food and kindness, they wonder, what's the catch? What is it that we have to do to return this favor? They'll be surprised that there isn't anything. The fact that you are the visitor of Hussein means that you are blessed and you're taking part in this wonderful process.
Over the days that follow the day of Arbaeen, the pilgrims decide whether they want to stay in the city of Karbala for a while longer or make their journey back home. As they leave the inner city of Karbala, they turn around, look at the dome of Imam Hussein and pray that this is not the last year that they give allegiance to the Imam at this shrine. Allahumma la taj'alhu akhar al-ahdi minni li ziyaratikum. O Allah, do not let this be the last time that I pledge allegiance to them in their shrines. The tents are slowly taken down as the number of pilgrims decreases, and within days of the Arbaeen pilgrimage, all of Iraq returns to normality. The inner streets of Karbala are cleaned, and no one would think that a great pilgrimage had just taken place. The people returned to their homes, jobs, and countries. But despite their return, pilgrims and mawakib alike will reminisce about the days of Arbaeen, and many will be making preparations to visit, to serve, and to pledge their allegiance once again. It is their ardent desire that they will do so in the company of their awaited Saviour Imam Mahdi, one of whose titles is the Avenger of the Blood of Hussein and the Martyrs of Karbala. They pray for his return with the oft repeated phrase, Allahumma ajjal li waliyyika al-faraj. O Allah, hasten the reappearance of your vicegerent.